Well, it's happened again. For the second generation in a row, we've had a pretty major leak coming about Nintendo from the ESRB. If you're not familiar with the ESRB, they are the standard ratings board for video games here in North America, similar to CERO in Japan or PEGI in the UK. So getting a leak from an organization like this means that it's not up to determine if it's real. It is real, because games can only be submitted to the ESRB by their developers or publishers, and a game being rated by the ESRB means that they have actually played the game or had some type of interaction. They've confirmed its existence. So the ESRB isn't like, say, Walmart Canada, where just, listings get put up based on information that's floating around and may or may not be true. With the ESRB, when you see a game, that means that it's true. So what game are we talking about? This is NES World Championship Edition. In fact, the full title as listed by the ESRB is Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. I apologize, I'm reading this off my phone so that I can get this video out as quickly as possible. And they include an actual summary of the game. This is a collection of 2D challenges and platformer games in which players traverse through various modes, e.g. speedrun survival. Several challenges involve reaching specific points, while others prompt players to defeat small enemies or survive brief battles. Some games depict pixelated characters using small swords or arrows to strike at enemies. Enemies typically get stunned or disappear in a flash. It also goes further to explain that there is mild fantasy violence and that there are in-game purchases. Now, this is interesting. So if you've been following the Nintendo rumor space lately, you know that Pioro, a very well-respected leaker, tweeted an image of an NES World Championship cart. A lot of folks took that to mean that the Switch 2 was on the horizon, or that it would be called the Switch 2, because if you've ever seen an NES World Championship cart, there are dip switches on the side, labeled Switch 1, Switch 2, Switch 3, and Switch 4. So people took that to mean that there was a Switch 2 reveal coming imminently. However, in the face of this new information, it's very clear that that was a tease of this NES World Championships game coming to Switch. The original NES World Championship cartridge, the one that Pioro shared on Twitter, contained only 3 games. It contained Super Mario Bros., Tetris, and Rad Racer. Now, this is very obviously a different game. We're not getting the NES World Championship cartridge just ported to NSO or put on Switch, because the description from the ESRB mentions fantasy violence. In fact, it specifically mentions swordplay, which is not something that existed in either Mario, Tetris, or Rad Racer. So that means we're probably getting Zelda within this. Maybe Fire Emblem, though I doubt that because it says it's a more speed-runny type of challenge. I actually believe that this is going to be something like a long-lost cousin to the NES Remix series. Those games famously contained a bunch of first-party Nintendo games and little challenges, like micro bite-sized challenges that you could take on to win medals and stuff. I actually think that we're just getting almost like a rebrand of the NES Remix series. So rather than a proper NES Remix 3, we're getting basically Nintendo World Championship. So I expect this will be a rebrand, and given that the ESRB has already rated this, I bet we're getting it pretty soon. I bet at whatever the next direct is, we'll be seeing this game, or maybe it'll just be a Twitter shadow drop. Maybe it'll be something that is free for NSO players, or it'll just be like a download-only title with a physical coming later on, similarly to what happened with Tetris 99. So that's all there is. The ESRB has revealed another Nintendo game. I'm sure the folks at Nintendo are none too happy about information of any new game coming out this way. This is probably not how they wanted this to get out, but this is as close to official confirmation as you can get. This is not a rumor, this is a game that exists. Now, of course, there is the off chance that Nintendo scraps this, right? And that it never sees the light of day. However, with Pioro tweeting about it and teasing it, and now the ESRB leak, it seems like this is kind of a foregone conclusion. It's going to come out. I do, however, want to hedge my bet here, because we have seen games rated by the ESRB that have ended up not coming out. WB famously did this with an HD version of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. Those were all rated, and then they just never released. So it is rare, but possible that we could get ratings for these games. We could get, this information from leakers, and then the game will never see the light of day. However, I'm much more on the side of this is almost certainly happening. This is probably the last year that the Switch is on the market, and so Nintendo's going to push out a lot more games that don't require as much effort as their traditional AAA output, but that still are fun, like little smaller bite-sized experiences to keep the Switch chugging along until the Switch 2 comes out. But I want to know what you think. Are you excited for this? I certainly am. I love these little things. I loved NES Remix, and I'm excited to see it return in some way, shape, or form. But I want to know what you think. Is this good enough for the second half of 2024? You know, is this something that you're excited for? Do you think this should be an NSO game? Do you think it's a full price title or a budget title? Do you think it should have a physical release? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about this new NES World Championship game that is clearly coming to Switch. And that's it for today. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching through to the end. It really helps us out a lot. If you want to watch more of our stuff, John just did a video where he played a Switch game with nothing but a cardboard box, and I'll put that up here. I'm going to let the algorithm choose a random one for you down below. Let me know if they got it right this time. And if you'd like to support us, you can head over to patreon.com/gvgaming to find out more.